Welcome back, everyone. It's here. And today I've got some r/BestOf for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading you the posts, giving you my opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. This post was collected by Insafian, who does not yet have a tagline. Fix that. The original OP's Active Storage 1275 posted an r/Am I the Asshole November 8th, 2025. OP was voted not the asshole. Am I the asshole for asking my sister-in-law what she's doing with her degree after she implied my university wasn't prestigious enough? Last night, my husband, our 2-year-old daughter, and I were at my in-laws. My sister-in-law and her husband and kids were there too. The topic of one of their cousin's kids going to university came up. We talked about how going to a good university helps in networking. I mentioned how I had gotten my first business analyst job because my interviewer had also gone to U of T. At this point, my sister-in-law chimed in with, U of T of Mississauga, right? So, not the actual one. My husband said politely that it's the same thing, and she just shrugged. I asked her where she went. She said she went to U of T and added St. George campus. I then asked how she's using her degree. I knew she's a stay-at-home mom, so that's why I'm here, and that might have been an asshole thing to say. She said she chose to be a stay-at-home mom and kind of stopped talking to me. My husband thinks I was out of line. Admittedly, I didn't think it through when I said it, just said what came to mind. He says her question was tactless, but not malicious. I said it was rude, and that's what mattered. And the premise of it was just wrong. But I have been reconsidering it. She's texted him about how out of line I was. He's told her it was a misunderstanding between everyone and to let it go. Am I the asshole? Relevant comments. Comment 1. Not the asshole. She had something to say about the campus you went to and was 100% being rude because she felt like hers was better. And your question was valid. What is she doing with her degree? She sounds like one of those people who like to talk about everyone but can't stand when someone gives it back. Comment 2. Not the asshole. The U of T thing might not make sense to a lot of Redditors. The St. George campus is the main one, while Mississauga and Scarborough can be seen as lesser, which is what the sister-in-law was likely implying here. Yes, OP went low, but really only after the sister-in-law did it first. Commenter 3. She started it. She deserved it. Fuck around and find out. Commenter 4. Not the asshole. I'll always hate people who can dish it out but not take it. She wanted to put you down and couldn't deal with the clapback. In my opinion, Rude is the only person who started it. Sure, we could all be perfect adults and above it all, but that's just gonna reinforce the rude behavior. Your husband is like those teachers that will turn a blind eye until the bullied kid fights back. Comment 5. Soft, everyone sucks here. She was rude to imply your degree is worth less than hers. You are rude to imply that you think she's wasted her degree. You didn't have to take the bait. Sideways mouth emoticon. OP responds, I know, if I could do it again, I'd probably be more graceful in my response. We acted like immature kids in front of our own kids. Comment 6. You were both being snarky and catty, but she started it and you finished it, or so you thought. You both should apologize. OP responds, I'm honestly ready to apologize if she is. Update. I was heartened by all the not the asshole votes. I read a lot of the comments and really appreciated those saying I wasn't the instigator, so I was in the clear. As I read more comments and the way my sister-in-law was being mentioned, it made me feel bad. I don't blame the comments, they were only going by the context I had provided. But I took the fact that my sister-in-law being criticized heavily was making me uneasy as a cue to mend the relationship. She isn't a bad person. Her and I aren't BFFs, but have always been cordial to each other. The not the asshole verdict had given me the peace of mind that my reply wasn't totally uncalled for, so I asked my husband if she was still messaging him. He said she just sent a final wall of text of how hurt she was and then gone quiet. I asked him what he thought. He said he told her that her remark was thoughtless, but told me that there's levels to this. My reply really cut her. I told him I was willing to apologize if she did too. Last night, I got a call from her. She said that she had realized that her comment about UTM had come across as insulting, and that was not her intention. She said she was really proud of me and my career and the way I juggled it with being a mother and apologized for her remark. I thanked her and said my comment about her degree was out of line, that she's an awesome mother, and my remark had zero thought behind it. It was just me saying whatever I could in the moment. She broke down a bit, and that honestly made me feel terrible. I teared up too, and we just agreed to put this behind us. Like I mentioned in my original post, my reply was instinctive. I didn't think she was wasting her degree, and I hoped her comment had equally no thought behind it, but I'm glad I patched it up with her. OP is objectively just the better person in this scenario. They patched things up, they did the right thing, they were willing to apologize, but they also weren't the instigator, because I'm honestly unsure of how you can interpret saying, yeah, I went to U of T. Oh, but this campus, right? Not the actual one? See, I went to the St. George campus. There is no way to interpret that beyond her stating that her degree is somehow superior to OP's because of the campus they went to with the same university. OP has quick wit and clap back. And her clap back was enough to quite literally shatter sister-in-law's entire ego and put her in a position where she was spam texting her brother because of how deep that clap back cut. In the end though, I am happy that OP did manage to mend that relationship and put it behind them essentially. Burning bridges isn't always the best decision, and honestly, OP apologizing and realizing they do actually cherish their relationship with sister-in-law and want that to continue is a good thing, and them willing to put this behind them is a good thing. They're still not the asshole for the comments they made, and I don't think an apology was warranted from OP, but it's still commendable that they were willing to put this behind them and mutually apologize and work towards reconciliation instead of allowing this drama to continue and fester. Now, keep in mind, the only reason why I have this reaction is because of the severity of the situation at hand. It wasn't. It was a back and forth that was thoughtless and tactless and caused mutual pain. If this was a situation where there was a history of sister-in-law having this kind of behavior or having these kind of comments or constantly breaking boundaries, I would have had a very different reaction to this. This post was collected by Direct Caterpillar 77, and their tagline is, of course, Satan is not a pogo stick. The original OP is Fafrdr, F-A-F-R-D-R, posted April 5th, 2016. My 16 female, father, 56 male, acts creepy towards me. Should I tell my brother, 28 male? He's my guardian. My mother died of cancer when I was 7. At that time, my father was nowhere to be found. He had left my mother when I was less than 1 year old. I grew up with my mom and older brother. When my mom died, my brother became my guardian. He took good care of me and always made me feel safe and comfortable. He's been mother and father and brother for me at the same time. 2 years ago, my father came back and asked to be part of our lives again. He said that he's changed and wants to make things right. He initially used to come around once a week for a few hours, and it was nice. However, recently, in the past 2 months, he's acting creepy, which makes me uncomfortable. He texts me about my looks all the time, tells me I look like a complete woman now. It makes me feel weird. Last week, he asked me about my sex life, which I'm not comfortable talking to him about. He asked if I watch porn, and if I do, what positions I like. I mean, this is creepy, right? I don't like it. My brother talked to me about sex, but it was about safety and consent and things like that. Never these details that my father asks. I want him to stop these things, and that's all he talks about. Honestly, I want him to stay away from me. I don't like him. He gives me bad vibes. I know he's my father, but I don't see him as family. He's just another person to me. A creepy person that makes me uncomfortable. Should I tell my brother about these things and ask him to keep my father away? He has a good relationship with my brother. They've become close in recent months. Too long didn't read. My father is being creepy and I hate it. What should I do? Top comments. Sleep fight comments. Tell your brother that your dad is making you feel uncomfortable. Tell him now. User I overcall histiocytes comments. Show him the texts. You haven't done anything wrong and are very brave to ask. User Kathleen comments. Please tell your brother. Hugs. This is called grooming, starting with small comments and building up to potential physical abuse. You should be with your brother who can protect you. And ask for a counselor. They can help you get the words to bring up the uncomfortable discussions. I'm proud of you for realizing that this was not appropriate. You don't have to continue to see your bio dad. It's okay. Really. I'm a mom, and if you were my daughter, I would want you to cut contact with your bio dad. And then more little hugs in parentheses. Gotta love how back then triple parenthesis didn't have nearly the same connotations that it does nowadays. Good God. Update. April 8th, 2016, 3 days later. I told my brother everything and showed him all the texts as almost all of you told me to do so. He was shocked. For a few minutes, I couldn't say what he was thinking, but after that, he told me that I should have told him sooner, and that he will make sure our father never bothers us again. For a moment, I thought he was upset at me, but he was really furious at our father. He asked our father to come over and told me to remain in my room until he leaves. They ended up having a big fight, and they were loud, which I could hear. Father was yelling that a parent has a right to raise his daughter as he sees fit. Brother told him that he doesn't even know how to spell the word parent. He eventually left. He sent me a text that, "Your brother is way over his head. Don't choose him over your own father." I replied, with my brother's permission, that I'll choose him over 1,000 sperm donors like you. I don't want to see you ever again. And then I blocked his number. I'm very happy that my brother did this. I feel much better and safer now. He's always made me feel safe. When he has his own kids, I'm sure he'll be the most amazing father in the world, as he has been one for me. He said that he'll also inform the police in school, and if my father tries anything, I should tell him immediately to maybe look for some legal way to keep him away. I just hope that my sperm donor of a father stays away from us forever. Too long didn't read. I told my stepbrother and he confronted our father and told him to stay away and never contact us again. I blocked his number and social media. And that's where it ends. Thank God. No more updates to follow up. Just 2 updates, problem, solution, nothing more. Thank God, especially with the subject matter, that this was handled the way it was. But yes, what the father was doing was a form of grooming, for those of you who are curious or wondering if that may have been a misplaced label. It is quite literally, "Oh, you're so mature for your age," but in a different font. Absolutely vile, just disgusting. And if you're ever in a position like this, if I have any people in my audience who are under the age of 18, and you find yourself having conversations along these lines with someone, that person has ulterior motives when it comes to you and your safety. Oh boy, massive content warning in this one for animal abuse, verbal abuse, domestic abuse, threats of suicide, gaslighting, and manipulation. So please, viewer discretion is most certainly advised. This post was collected by Direct Caterpillar 77, and their tagline is, "Of course, Satan is not a pogo stick." The original OP is Dog and Hubby Throwaway. Posted July 20th, 2015. My, 24, fiance, 31 male, of 3.5 years snapped yesterday and attacked our dog, rethinking the wedding. Before I begin, I know the title makes him out to be a monster, but he's honestly not. I've never ever seen this side to him in all the time I've known him, together 2 years, engaged 1.5 years. He's always been such a calm, level-headed person. I know what he did was wrong, but I'm just wondering if there's any chance of a recovery from this, or if it's well and truly over. We got a dog, Fluff. An old English bulldog in April last year, and I love her. I thought my fiance did too. My fiance, Harry, got promoted last month and he's been very stressed. He's been working 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. and he's exhausted most nights. I picked up on this and started to clean everything and make food for when he'd be home, even though I just worked a 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. myself. I understand he's tired and stressed, but now this treatment has become expected. I literally wake up at 9, go to work, walk 3 miles back home, get home for 5:35 p.m., walk the dog, clean the house, and make dinner. If the house isn't immaculate, he'll get all huffy and ignore me and Fluff. Sort of, it's weird. When he got home, after waiting for him to eat, I tried to reason with him, saying I didn't always have the time to clean and cook every day. I get tired too. My fiance immediately got on the defensive. Said a lot of hurtful things, too lazy to clean, too stupid to work a better job, etc. I told him I'd had enough of his bad attitude and I'd like some alone time. He literally screamed, "Fine!" and stormed out of the living room. It's at this point I heard a yelp. And then my fiance shouted, "Piece of shit mutt!" and immediately ran into the source, only to find Fluff cowering in the corner with her mouth bleeding, and my fiance's got a massive bleeding gash in his leg. He first tried to make out that Fluff just attacked him, but I knew she'd never just attack someone like that. After some prodding, he admitted to kicking the dog in anger, and she then proceeded to bite him. I lost my cool at this point. I'm not proud of it, but I called him an asshole and continued to berate him for hurting Fluff and asked what the fuck he expected to come from kicking her. He was already pissed and started screaming at me too. Eventually he left to go to A&E. Later in the night, I got a text asking or saying that if I wanted him to come back, the dog had to go. I told him there was no way I was getting rid of Fluff and that he was in the wrong. He then sent me an all-caps text telling me how I'd be nothing without him. And if I was really going to throw all of us away over a mutt, then he's better off without me. I didn't respond to that. I woke up this morning to have had my phone flooded with texts and missed calls, apologizing and promising this, that, and the other. At this point, I don't even know what I want. I've cleaned up Fluff's mouth as much as I could. She wouldn't even let me near her for a couple hours, and I'm taking her to the vet today to see if there's any further damage. I'm just so disappointed and shocked at his behavior. I don't know if I can get over this. Too long didn't read, Fiance kicked our dog, insulted me, and is now remorseful, but I don't know if I can get over this. Relevant comments. Drunker Clunker. That's a good name. Comments. Together 2 years, engaged for 1.5. What would you do if this happened after a month, 2 months, 6 months, 1 year? Fact is, 2 years is about the right amount of time for someone to start showing you their true colors. If an asshole shows their asshole colors too soon, they'll always be a single asshole. My fiance immediately got on the defensive, said a lot of hurtful things, too lazy to clean, too stupid to work a better job, etc. He's showing you who he really is. Believe him. OP responds, thank you. I'll be messaging him later for a talk. I'm planning on breaking up with him. I'm planning on doing it in a restaurant in a public setting because frankly, I don't know what this man is capable of anymore. Is there any other steps I should be taking? Update. Thank you to everyone who took the time to read this post in advance. Taking it all into account, I'm going to the restaurant now. I've called up the manager ahead of time and told her to be wary of any raised voices / aggressive behavior. She's told me she will ask the waitress and waitresses to keep an eye out. Also, luckily, Fluffy was physically fine. I told the vet about how it happened and she suggested I keep my fiance away from Fluff. I told her I planned to. Update, July 21st, 2015, the next day. I'm posting an update for anyone who cared to know what happened at the restaurant. My last post got blocked? No idea why. So I'm updating here. I arrived at the restaurant with him and he tried to hug me outside. I told him I needed to talk to him inside and he kept asking me, what about? And I kept telling him I'd prefer to get inside and sit down to talk to him. We got inside and sat down. He wouldn't stop apologizing. It'll never happen again. He's been stressed. He loves me more than anything, etc. He wouldn't let me get a word in for a while until I eventually said to him, if he wasn't going to listen to me, I would leave right now. That got his attention. I said something along the lines of, can't remember the exact wording, but this is pretty much it. Harry, I'm sorry that things have turned out this way. I really am. Up until the other night, I wanted nothing more than to marry and spend my life with you, but after what you did to Fluff, I don't think that can happen. You've hurt a poor defenseless animal that trusted and loved you. Worse still, you showed no remorse for your actions and still haven't apologized for hurting Fluff or even asked how Fluff was holding up. You disrespected and berated me for simply wanting to be treated like an equal partner in this relationship and not a maid. And then you attacked our dog. I don't think I could ever get over the things you said to me or the things you've done to Fluff, and I think we should call it a day. Harry kept apologizing and started crying. I told him I was leaving and left my engagement ring on the table. I stood up from my chair, and again, it was like a switch had flipped. He told me he was going to kill himself if I left him. Told me to sit down and work this out, or I've killed him. When that didn't work, he threw his glass on the floor and began screaming at me in the middle of the restaurant. I don't know what he said. I was too shocked to even register. I started walking / running away from him. He got up and started to follow me until he was stopped by a waiter asking him to leave me alone or he's been instructed to call the police. My ex-fiance just looked between me and at the waiter for about 10 seconds before storming off and out of the restaurant. I broke down crying and the staff was very supportive and kind to me. They even walked me out to my car to make sure I got there safely. I got to my car and called my brother, Tom, 22 male. I gave him a brief version of everything that happened and asked if he could stay the night at my place as Harry still has a key. He met up with me at the restaurant and drove me home and slept on my couch. He's offered to stay until this mess has been sorted and has been just such a champ through this. Harry has been calling and texting nonstop. It's been a mess of fluctuating between apologizing and crazy, so I've decided to block his number until I have all his stuff packed for him to pick up. Fluff has been acting strangely towards Tom ever since she was attacked, so I'm considering bringing her to a pet behaviorist. Does anyone have any good experience with them, or am I just better taking her to the vet again? Thank you to everyone who offered advice here. It's really helped me through this. Too long didn't read, broke it off, he exploded, restaurant staff stepped in, and brother is staying with me until this is sorted. Final comments. Iguana Day. Animal behaviorist here. Can you describe how Fluff has been acting? If this doesn't get a response, I will personal message. Note, a vet works with medicine, so they generally can't discern specific behaviors, nor are they equipped to train in abundance. OP responds, Fluff has always been a pretty lazy dog, but since my brother has been here, she's been very fidgety, frenetic playing with toys, sniffing and scratching. If my brother is in the room, she'll either move far away from him or out of the room entirely. The strangest thing by far is my brother went to stroke her a couple hours ago and she started whining before moving away from him. Iguana Day responds, Fluff always been a pretty lazy dog since my brother has been here. She's been very fidgety, frenetic playing with toys, sniffing and scratching. She's establishing her territory. It wasn't compromised before and now it is because she's associating males with danger. The problem is she isn't quite sure how to do it safely. Having your brother there is great for you, but she's still in shock and traumatized. Edit for clarity, your dog doesn't come off like a dominant dog based on your posts, cowering at your brother's hand, for example. So it's natural for her to not understand how to establish territory. The main point is she's scared and is shuffled into a role she cannot, and was not meant to carry out. Also, contrary to popular belief, going overhand at a dog is threatening to it, even if your brother was going to stroke her. If you wish to interact with Fluff and show her your home is a safe environment, sit on the floor with her. Automatically, this will make her feel safer because she doesn't have someone towering above her. If you want to touch her, offer your hand. If she accepts, stroke under her chin and then lead up to rubbing her face/top of the head slowly. She needs to see where your limbs are going, and she will trust slow, deliberate movements more than impulsive ones. It's very important right now that she sees where your hands are going. Dogs may have 240-degree vision, but she can't associate the difference between a pat and a forceful hit if it's coming from behind. Do not approach her from behind if possible. Make sure she can see you. If you must approach her from behind, call out her name gently so she can be aware of your presence. I would like to note that in your original post, your dog bit your ex out of retaliation, assuming that he kicked Fluff. I do not believe a single kick to the dog would make it act out so aggressively as to cause a wound that would make someone bleed profusely, especially if she has no history of aggressive behavior. What I mean is, your ex did something incredibly malicious to her with intent to the point where she needed to attack for her life. I've tripped over many dogs in my day, which spooks them a bit, but it doesn't lead to violence. If I had to guess, he probably tried choking/manhandling her. Please, if you have any more questions or need clarification, I will be happy to help you. A lot of really good information in this post about kind of approaching dogs and taking care of them and making sure they feel safe, especially in an environment where they previously did not feel safe. I'm glad that OP drew a hard line and did not tolerate this shit and saw right through what was going on and decided to move not just herself but her dog out of harm's way. The final note by the pet behavioralist tells me exactly what I thought more than likely happened. It wasn't just a kick, it had to have been some outburst of malicious aggression to make a dog snap and bite like that. In my day, I have definitely tripped over dogs, stepped on their paws, and accidentally hurt them in ways that make me feel horrible. But I've never been snapped at or bit, even with rescue and shelter dogs. There's also a lot of credence lent to that to the fact that if he were to kick her hard enough that would cause the dog to snap and bite, there would be substantial injuries to her. But there weren't. The vet cleared them. Which means that, yeah, it had to have been something a lot more malicious and violent. Which also means that OP's fiance has a lot more violent tendencies under the hood that they've been masking and hiding. Tendencies which we briefly got a look under the hood when he was at the restaurant, when he smashed the glass, threatened to kill himself in retaliation. Thank God OP got out of that situation, because those are some pretty freaky fucking true colors to come out right there. Palette cleanser! This post was collected by Shark Ava, who has the tagline of, "No sex tonight, just had 50 justice organs." The original OP is Gotta Catch Serena, posted on r/marriage, posted October 16th, 2025. I found a strange note written by my husband. How do I address it? My husband, 28, and I, 27 female, have been married for 5 years now, and overall, it's been a very good relationship. I'll cut to the chase. Today, I was cleaning the house and found a torn piece of notebook paper on the floor. I open it up, and there's a note in my husband's handwriting that says, "Hey, my dearest, want to meet up late tonight? I have something special planned. XOXOXO." It's possible he wrote this for me and I just don't remember it, but leaving me notes isn't really something he'd do. He also keeps a lot of notebooks/keepsakes from his high school years, so it's also possible this was from that time period, but I don't know how something like that would end up torn out and on the floor. I don't want to jump to conclusions, but I find this very strange and I need advice on how to approach this. What should I do? Comments. User Flintstone Pushups comments. Ask him and pay close attention to his face and body language when he answers. The eyes usually give it away if he panics. User Alaraz33 comments. I don't know if this is very fair. If I were in the same position as the husband and I did indeed write that note for my wife, I would immediately be nervous that she would think I wrote it for someone else and would probably give my anxiety away with all sorts of nonverbal cues. Dr. Hygh comments, you have a couple options. One is that you ignore it. You could assume it's junk, irrelevant, whatever. Throw it away and forget about it. Or you could take a wait-and-see approach, see below. The other is that you bring it up nonchalantly, even nicely, like he planned you to find it that way, and that it's for you. After all, what reason have you to assume it's for anyone else? You will either have to go along with this, and maybe he did do it with this intent, or he'll be pretty awkward trying to figure out how to handle the situation. Apart from this note, has there been anything about his behavior that would correspond to what's implied? Is he working late, going out at night, been on his phone a lot? Anything that seems unusual or out of character for him? OP responds, he does work late, but he has an evening job, so that makes sense. There are times he comes home later than expected, but when I ask about it, he always has some logical reason as to why. He's also on his phone and computer a lot, but he's always been that way, so it's not unusual. Edit, writing notes is pretty out of character for him. It also wasn't lying in an obvious spot, like I had to sweep under something in order to find it. Update. A few hours later. Edit. Update! Y'all, I showed my husband the note and he immediately burst out laughing. He helped run a murder mystery dinner last month and the note was just part of the game. I honestly feel so stupid now, but I started laughing too and then we put the note up on the fridge. Comments! Gimpsy Vixen comments. Were you not a part of the murder mystery? OP response, no, I wasn't. He told me about it, but I had something else going on. Alt middle-aged dad comments, your update made me smile. NBK Law comments, many years and a couple of lives ago. My then girlfriend angrily confronted me with a note she found written in a girl's handwriting that said, I've had the time of my life. As it turns out, back in the day, I was a wedding DJ and that was a song request from a bridesmaid. So I can relate to OP as I recall my first reaction also was to laugh. I'm happy that OP didn't just wait around to ask and let this stew and boil over and they had the update the same day, because this would have been something that would have been gnawing at me personally for a long time and debating the same thing. Asking Reddit is fine. I would just personally avoid it because most of them usually jump to the conclusion of, he's obviously cheating on you and doing something special for another girl. Dump his ass immediately. I mean, hell, we've had posts on here where someone finds quote-unquote damning evidence and they jump straight towards immediately breaking up with their partner, and turns out it was a massive misunderstanding that they didn't even give their partner the chance to explain or even just actually a chance to talk about it. It is also kind of funny, the idea or concept of doing a murder mystery and the oh, I'll see you tonight, XOXOXO note is just written in obviously some guy's handwriting. Was a femme fatale part of the murder mystery, or was part of it where turns out some guy was trying to frame a would-be femme fatale? Is it femme fatale or femme fatale? Or neither, and I'm just an idiot. I feel like that could go two ways really quickly. Just imagine hosting a murder mystery party and you make one of the clues and one of them's Obviously because the handwriting's so shitty. It's very clearly not the widow and someone else. This is obviously a man who wrote this trying to frame the widow. And just as the host now trying to deal with the fact of, well, that's not the direction I wanted to go, but now I have to do that or otherwise my penmanship just got roasted for no reason. Ridiculous tangent and goofy heartwarming story, but I felt after the previous one, this could definitely be a nice palate cleanser. Don't forget, this is brought to you by GamerSupps. Use code ODDS at checkout. It's basically a caffeine powder that you put in your water, and I actually really like it. I use this on a daily basis. Don't forget that every purchase you make using code ODDS directly supports the channel. And if you want a personal recommendation from me, I would either recommend the Soda Pressing Pear or Dragon Fruit Punch. Those two are currently my favorite flavors. And as a note, once we sell a certain amount of stuff, I get my own flavor and my own cup. And you all know I'm gonna choose some degenerate shit that's gonna make their PR team squirm. My goal is to make them regret partnering with me. So please, use code ODDS at checkout to make my dream come true of making a PR team squirm.